little hair there that's bothering me. And also you're not gonna feel like it's too overwhelming and too poofy. So that's gonna give you a little bit more versatility. I was gonna show you sizzle as well, just so you could see a quick comparison. Then you have to try out TressAllure's fiber. I think you're really gonna like them. Hi everybody, welcome back to the Chiquel YouTube channel. My name is Amanda and today I'm going to be giving you a review on this brand new beautiful piece by TressAllure called Leading Edge. I'm loving this one, so stay tuned for all I have to say. But before I jump into it, I'm going to remind you to like this video and subscribe to my YouTube channel where you can learn even more about alternative hair. All right, so it is the very beginning of June right now and TressAllure just came out with 3 brand new styles. 2 of them are shorter ones, which I will definitely get a chance to talk about and review for you here. But first, I'm going to talk about their 3rd style, which is this longer one called Leading Edge. So about a year ago, TressAllure introduced their Look Fabulous Realistic Light Fiber, which is a heat-friendly synthetic fiber that is about 40% lighter than your typical heat-friendly synthetic fiber. So that is what this is made out of. And you can definitely tell, I find, especially on these longer styles, you can tell that it is a lighter weight fiber. So if you are looking for that lightweight feel, but yet still, you know, a decent density, then you have to try out TressAllure's fiber. I think you're really gonna like them. I find that it is very comparable to Raquel Welch's new fiber, their Feather Light fiber, which again is the same idea where the fiber is shaped like a tube. So they like hollow out the center of the fiber to make it that lighter feel. So TressAllure's Look Fabulous Realistic Light Fiber is essentially the same idea as Raquel Welch's Feather Light fiber. Now, I wouldn't say that Leading Edge is a low density. I would say it's closer to a low to medium density, definitely leaning closer to medium. If I put this in a ponytail, I can definitely feel like there's a good amount of hair here. But all that being said, it is lightweight feeling because of the fiber. And also you're not gonna feel like it's too overwhelming and too poofy because Leading Edge doesn't have any permatease on it. So you're gonna have that lower profile look where it doesn't feel like it's too much going on up here. Let me give you a spin so you can see this whole thing first. Okay, now this is something I talk about a lot, but I'm gonna talk about it again because I know that there's always new people coming into wigs, learning all about them. So if you've heard me say this spiel before, I apologize, you can fast forward if you want, but if you're new to this, then definitely pay attention. So like I said, this is a heat-friendly synthetic fiber. If you are new to wigs, something you'll have to understand about synthetic fibers, but especially heat-friendly synthetic fibers, and especially long heat-friendly synthetic fibers like Leading Edge, is that these are going to tangle pretty easily throughout your day. You're probably going to have to carry around with you a wide tooth comb to detangle throughout the day several times, and also to help reduce the clumping. So heat-friendly synthetic fiber also, aside from tangling, has a tendency to clump up. And when I say that, the fibers just kind of like come together in sections, trying to like recreate the look so that it just looks like there's these kind of chunks of fibers together. And you have to kind of comb it out to like declump it. And then aside from all of that, with these longer fibers and these longer heat-friendly synthetic fibers, the ends get really frizzy pretty quickly. Some people think that that is the end of the world and it means that their wig is ruined and it's poor quality and blah, blah, blah. But that's not necessarily the case. It just means you have to maintain it. So if you are someone who doesn't like putting any effort and any time into their hair at all, you might not do well with a long heat-friendly synthetic fiber style like Leading Edge. But if you are someone who is okay with using hot tools like with a hair straightener or a blow dryer brush, and you're okay with using those, then this might be okay for you. So all this would take is at the end of your day, after every couple of wears or so, like I said, you're gonna notice some frizzing. A style like leading edge is going to be really easy to care for though, because what you're going to have to do is just spray it with water, go get your hot air brush, go through the ends with your hot air brush, and then you're pretty much good to go. And that hot air is going to help defrizz your fiber and make it soft and smooth again, and it's ready to wear the next time. Now, if this were a curly or a wavy piece, it would be much more difficult to maintain. But because this is straighter and because there's not a lot of structure and style that you have to try and maintain, it's going to be pretty easy to care for. I do have several videos on how to manage your heat-friendly synthetic fiber, so definitely take a look back at those so that you can learn a little bit more about them. Okay, let's dive a little bit more into this style. So one thing I noticed is that this style reminds me a little bit of TressAllure's Sizzle. However, there's a couple differences. I have Sizzle here. I will put Sizzle on for you guys so you can see a little bit later, but this style, I find it has really long layers. You're not gonna find any short layers. You're not gonna find any face framing layers. All of the layering starts like way down here and is really the last, like, I don't know, 5 inches or so of the style. You have no layering above this point here. The shortest piece really goes way down here. So the layers are there, but they're just long layers. But in the end, it helps make the ends a little bit feathered so that they're not so blunt. And I find that that is one of the major differences between this and Sizzle, because Sizzle does have some shorter face framing layers, which I'll show you soon. I'll put Sizzle on and you can check it out. Another difference I find is that leading edge is a little bit lower profile than Sizzle is. It doesn't poof up quite as much, even though Sizzle doesn't really have any permatease either. I just find Sizzle has maybe a little bit higher density and a little bit more volume to her. But again, I'll put her on soon. But overall, the lengths are very similar. So you're gonna find that right at the front here, this is about 14 inches long. Same with from your nape. You also have about 14 inches from your nape. And overall from your crown up here, that is about 18 inches long. So your girl's got some hair on her. She's pretty long. What I love about this one is it has that extended lace front. And I do find that it's extended like a little bit more even. So it goes pretty much all the way to here on both sides, of course. So that's gonna give you a little bit more versatility with styling, giving it that realistic appearance. And I do really love TressAllure's lace fronts. I like how they aren't so dense at the front, which makes it easier to pull back and off of your face. When there's too much hair up at the hairline here, then it just starts looking unrealistic. But TressAllure does a good job of their lace fronts. What I also love is that they don't, if you've heard me talk about this before, there are some brands that bring the lighter piece forward at the roots so that the knotting isn't quite as visible. When you have darker knots, the knots are more visible. When you have lighter knots, like a blonde knot, it's harder to see the knot. But on some colors, when you have a rooted color, they'll bring the light pieces forward. So you have this band of light colored hair in the front, which to me kind of bothers me. It makes it look a little bit too perfect, a little bit unrealistic, but I don't find that TressAllure truly does that too much. They do a good job at like sprinkling different colors throughout the front so that it's not too like stark of a line there. So I enjoy that. So overall, I am a fan of their lace fronts. And then leading edge here also has that full monofilament top. So that means that you have all of the parting versatility. So you're able to part it on the right, on the left, in the center. You can have deep left, deep right, all the way. So this is about as deep as you can go, almost on the side. So you have a lot of parting options, which makes styling a little bit easier. Now I'm wearing the color EL1222 8. So whenever you see a TressAllure color with the EL in front of the color code, the EL stands for what they call Euro Light. And essentially what a Euro Light color is a blend of about 3 tones together. And it also has this bright highlight in the front. So here you can really clearly see this bright chunk in the front here to frame your face. So this color is essentially a blend of a light golden brown. So you can see that throughout here with golden blonde highlights throughout. So they bring that lighter golden blonde to the front even. And then we have a medium brown root. So all with these Euro light colors, like I said, it brings that lighter color forward. So you have this like chunky face framing highlight in the front. And then as you go to the side, the highlighting reduces, but then it slightly increases as you get to the back of the wig, adding a little bit more highlighting throughout there. So I just know that if you ever see a TressAllure color with the EL in the front, that's kind of what it means. Now EL 12-22-8 definitely leans warm. So like I said, it has that blend of that light golden brown here, which definitely helps move it to the warm side. Okay, let me take this off so we can take a look at the inside of this cap here. So, oh, we got some sun peeking in now. We have this full monofilament top here. So that's what we have in order to change that part and to give you that realistic illusion of scalp. And it goes into this lace front extended all the way sort of mid ear tab here. Then we have these velvet ear tabs with the metal stay in it. So that metal stay, it's just like a metal wire almost in there. And that's what allows these wigs to be glueless. So you don't need to put glue on your ear tabs because that metal stay is there to help keep it flush against your temples. So it's not flopping around everywhere. Then we have an open wefted cap here. So the open wefting, that basically means that these fibers have been machine sewn into rows here, and then it's open. You can stick your fingers through it, which allows for more ventilation and breathability. So these types of caps are a little bit cooler, perhaps a good idea for the summertime. And then we have extended velvet nape here for comfort, and then your Velcro adjusters. So you can adjust your circumference up to about 1/2 inch either way. So TressAllure styles, I find pretty much all of them, including leading edge, fit very true to average. So I am a petite size. I measure 20.5 inches in circumference, 11.5 inches front to nape, and 11.5 inches ear to ear. This fits me, oh, got one little hair there that's bothering me. This fits me really nicely ear to ear. So when you have a wig, you want it to sit just above your ear crease so that it's not like in your ear crease, because that gets really bothersome. So you want it to sit just above your ear crease, and you want it to sit just in front of your ear. So kind of like where a sideburn situation would be. So I find that this fits me really well ear to ear. And like I said, I'm 11.5 inches ear to ear here. In terms of front to nape on me, that's where I find the trickiest for me, because that's where I get like the extra bulk in the cap. So for someone like me as a petite size, most averages are pretty bulky on me in the cap, and it's something I just deal with. However, for someone like you, if you are petite and you don't want to deal with it, you can always sew some of the wefts together, and that definitely helps to reduce that bulk and make it fit a little bit more easily. Now, as for the circumference, I would definitely take in these Velcro adjusters so that it tightens it up just a little bit so it feels a little bit more secure. But this is pretty much straight out of the box. I haven't really done anything but taken out the zigzag part that it comes with. Okay, like I said, I was going to show you sizzle as well, just so you could see a quick comparison. I was mentioning how leading edge seems to be a little bit lower density, sitting a little bit lower profile. It's not as voluminous, and also leading edge, the layers are much longer. So here's leading edge. Overall, the lengths are going to be very similar. Here is sizzle. You can already see some of the layering in here, but let me put this on so that we can see a really quick difference if you are trying to decide what to get. So already, I think you can tell that this one has a little bit more volume on her. The layering here is much shorter in the front. I would prefer sizzle in an updo, because whenever I have updos, I like having these shorter layers in the front so that they aren't so droopy. Whereas if I were to put leading edge in an updo, the front layers would be super droopy. They're like down to here. So if you are someone who's looking for more of a style that's longer, but that you can put in updos, you might prefer sizzle over leading edge. And then there's a little bit more layering involved in sizzle, which gives it a little bit more movement, a little bit more structure. And then there's a bit more hair. So I definitely feel like there's a little bit more volume going on with sizzle. If you want more information on sizzle, I have done a review on this, so definitely go search my channel and you can find it. But I will let you know that sizzle is also made with the same Look Fabulous realistic light fiber that leading edge is made out of. But let me put leading edge back on, since this video is all about this beautiful new style. But even putting this on now, leading edge does feel a little bit lighter weight. I do see how it sits flatter to my head, and it's just not quite as voluminous. And I think part of that has to do with the long layers that kind of pull it down a little bit. All right, you guys, I think that's all I have to share with you guys about this lovely new style by TressAllure. If you have any questions, ask them below. I'm always happy to answer them as best as I can. Or as always, you can just say, hey, Amanda, how's it going? So that I can say, hey, right back to you. But thank you so much for watching, you guys. Hopefully this helped you out on your journey to find the perfect piece for you. I will see you next time, you guys. Bye.